at 12. Just keep coming back. Love the race and the just the pain that we have to go through. So yeah, no, it's great to be back again. You always got to have the butterflies. If you didn't, then something would probably be wrong. I think the distances in themselves just scares you, and when you think 3.8k swim, 180k's on the bike, and a 42k run, it's a long day. Probably getting out of the swim, getting off the bike, and finishing the run. A fantastic start to the season, winning the New Zealand Ironman for the 10th time, so that was great. It's to win 10 times there is just pretty incredible. Port Macquarie in Australia, that didn't go so well. I had a flat tire, but still ended up third, and had a great win in Korea at the 70.3 over there, and then Ironman Germany, the European Championships, had that, but that was a shocking day. It rained the whole day, and it was, I think, colder than New Zealand, and just could never get going, and so had a pretty disappointing 7th place there. And then after that was a 3rd place in the Philippines. When I was a school kid, had an interest in cycling. Used to race my mate to school every day on the bike, and I think I first watched the Tour de France when it was on TV back in 86, 87, and that was when I first got into triathlon. And the first race was a bit of a nightmare, sort of dehydrated myself, but from that first race, it was a learning curve, and sort of stepped up every year. Can't smash yourself every day. You got to have consistent days, and if you can do that in your training, have a coach, get in a swim squad. Swimming is really important. Australia and New Zealanders, most of the time you live by the beach and that, so a lot of people can swim pretty easy, but a lot of people struggle, so it's a key sport to be coached by. And then just having someone looking after you in the other disciplines as well is a real asset, and I think just easing into it. Back home in New Zealand I love, but south of France I've been there many times, and Triathlon New Zealand had a camp there for I think 5 or 6 years, so I had the pleasure of being down the south of France and training in the Pyrenees mountains. The compression gear is a real favourite at the moment. When you get older, the injuries play a big part, so that recovery factor is huge. When I was a junior was Rick Wells. He was the first Olympic distance winner of the World Championships back in 87 over in Perth, Australia, and he was Commonwealth Games champion when it was in Auckland 1990, and Aaron Baker as well. They were around that sort of time when I was a junior, and you had them to look up to us. Just fantastic. They were fantastic ambassadors for the sport for New Zealand. Bloody hard, but it's a great sport, and I keep coming back. This is I think up to sort of 30 Ironmans now, and it's just a love for the sport.